the U.S. Census, and I'm here to ask you...
I've already done it. The census is almost upon us, and since it's the 21st century, I did the census online. It only took me 5 minutes, and I did my part to make sure I'm counted. Hello.
Hello, I'm with the U.S. Census, and I'm here to ask you...
I've already done it. The census is almost upon us, and since it's the 21st century, I did the census online. It only took me 5 minutes, and I did my part to make sure I'm counted. Shape your future.
Start here.
United States Census 2020.
My fellow Paulding Countyans, I come to you today to talk about what we are doing here locally in Paulding County in response to the coronavirus global pandemic. We are following the advice of our Governor, Brian Kemp, in his office. We are listening to our Emergency Management Deputy Director, Stephen Dooley, to ensure that we are following the best practices to keep our staff and you as citizens as safe as possible. Therefore, effective Tuesday, March the 17th, 2020 at 5 p.m., in an effort to take precautions and limit exposure of person-to-person contact, the administration building, all park facilities, all libraries, and the Paulding County Water System Customer Service building lobby will close to the public. The water system drive-through services remain open to the public. The Paulding Sheriff's Office lobby is closed to non-essential functions. However, the sheriff assures us that they are still responding to all emergency calls. Paulding County will continue to provide services, and all county employees will report to work daily as normal. As the situation continues to develop, adjustments will be made, if necessary, to facilitate the delivery of services. Updates are received daily at noon from the Department of Public Health. As of today, Paulding has 3 confirmed cases, with Cobb having 37, Bartow having 26, and Polk having just 1. We recommend that you use credible news organizations instead of social media as your source of information on this pandemic, as social media is flooded with false information, rumors, and potential scams. Although our doors are closed to the public, rest assured that we are working here for you, our citizens. Please reach out to us by phone, email, or online for continued assistance. We as a community must remain vigilant to work together to navigate through this challenging time. Thank you, and God bless the citizens of Paulding County.
Hello, I'm Tommy Leonard, Operations Manager for the Paulding County Recycling Center. I'd like to take you on a brief tour of our facility today to show you the items that we take and how we handle them and how they're processed to get them to the final vendor. Our hours of operation are as follows. We're open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We are closed on Wednesday and Sunday. We are open Saturday from 8 a.m. until noon. Upon arrival to our center, when our citizens get here, we try to greet them, we assist them. This is called our pre-sort table. We put all items on the table and we sort them by steel cans, aluminum cans, plastics 1 and 2. Once we get these sorted, we take them back into the building and we go through that process again through the baling. I'd like to show you our balers, the equipment that we actually work with every day. We actually have 2 Max Pack balers and also a base baler. We use our furthest one away, the Max Pack baler, all the way over. That is exclusively for cardboard, corrugated cardboard. Our second baler is a multiple baler also, but we mostly use it for paper products such as paperboard, shredded paper, and newspapers. Our third baler, the gray baler, is a base compact baler that we use exclusively for two products. First of all, we use plastic bottles, but in between, after we make a bale of the plastic of what we call PET, which is polyethylene, we also crush aluminum cans and bale them into 300-pound bales. So these are very important to us, but we can actually use, if one baler was to go down, we can actually rotate and go to another baler to keep the flow of the products that we receive from our citizens. I'd like to show you what the product looks like when we receive it and bring it in and process it. What we have here are bales of corrugated cardboard. This actually is a 1,000-pound bale of what the industry calls OCC, which is old corrugated cardboard, simply cardboard. We have, if you take two of these, that is actually 2,000 pounds, which is equivalent to the ton. For each ton that we receive down here that is baled, it saves 7,000 gallons of fresh water from being used, around 18 full-grown trees from being harvested, and several pounds of pollutants from going back into the air. We also take a mixture which we call our mixed paperboard. A lot of your food container boxes your food comes in those, as well as shredded paper. They weigh 1,200 pounds apiece. They're a lot more weight, compact weight, than the corrugated cardboard. On the very far end, we have the plastic bottles, which are called PET, polyethylene. They weigh about anywhere from 400 to 600 pounds, depending on how much compaction we can get on those. The plastic bottles are in demand right now. They are actually, a lot of people don't know, but all of your household carpet, front and back, and your padding is made from reclaimed PET bottles. This is another product that we accept here at our recycling center called e-waste. We're allowed to take computers, printers, fax machines, cell phones, landline phones. When they come and get these, they will be taken to a secured facility, Atlanta Recycling Solutions, and they'll destroy these and give us a certificate of destruction. What that means is that any hard drives or anything on there, they're destroyed and they're shredded, so it is a secured feature that they offer us as well. We cannot take televisions or monitors. We do not have a vendor for those. So you would have to take those for proper disposal at a landfill. Another product we accept here is glass. We are able to take household glass only, no plate glass or any kind of safety glass, but household glass, meaning things that beverages come in or food comes in. We take green, brown, and clear. Each of these boxes is called a Gaylord box. They actually hold 1,000 pounds of glass. When we have 26 of these completely full, our vendor will back up to our docking station and we'll put these on the trailer, and they'll wind up going to Strategic Material down in College Park, where they are made into new glass. Another service that we offer the citizens of Paulding County is the proper disposal of used tires. We accept truck tires at a cost of $7. We accept passenger tires at a cost of $5. This is set up strictly for our citizens to use, no commercial loads accepted. Another service that we're proud to offer the citizens of Paulding County is a place to properly dispose of used motor oil and also cooking oil. I would like to remind our customers, our citizens, that all items are not accepted for recycling down here. If you would please go to www.paulding.gov and go to the recycling link, there's a list of items that we accept and what we do not accept. We would appreciate your cooperation on this because we do not want to landfill these items. That defeats the purpose of recycling. I hope this information that you saw today is helpful to you, and we look forward to serving the citizens of Paulding County. Thank you.
Are you looking for a fast-paced, exciting career that's also rewarding? The Paulding County Sheriff's Office is actively hiring men and women to fill our ranks. Come make a difference where you live.
Being here, being back home was, it's always a good feeling to come back to something familiar. I have friends that work here, people I went to high school with, and they said it's a great environment to work in. And because I got my degree in investigations, also the possibility of upward mobility within the department is also a great thing.
It's still the family atmosphere. I don't ever have to worry about somebody not having my back. I've got all the support that I need, all of the training and equipment that I need. I don't ever have to worry about being ill-prepared for any kind of situation I'm going to face.
I wanted to make the change and come work closer to home, specifically in the community that I live in. I want to try and make a difference and serve my family, my friends. There are a few other places, as far as law enforcement is concerned, a few other agencies where you have so many vast opportunities with so little restriction on capping in your career. In the short time of 3 years, being able to be promoted to detective, being able to even be considered to be on a SWAT team is almost unheard of anywhere else. The opportunities are endless within our county. We have multiple divisions that can be worked within, and it's just as high as you want to go, as hard as you want to work.
Hello, I'm Paulding County Sheriff Gary Gullins. If you want to make a difference where you live, the Paulding County Sheriff's Office is actively hiring motivated men and women to fill our ranks. For more information, you can visit our website or give us a call at 770-443-3010. Come make a difference in our community.
It's incredible, just being here, thinking back to being here for my hometown visit and everything, getting to play on the same stage, same place. But this time, it's not for the American Idol thing. People are coming out to support me, apart from that, which means the world to me that people are coming out and buying tickets and everything. And it's really just a super humbling thing that everybody's come out to this supporting me. Oh, I have countless memories at South Paulding High. I participated in the talent competition every year. I remember my freshman year I got second. My sophomore year I got third. And then my junior year I didn't place. And I was like, man, I'm getting worse. But then I won my senior year. Praise be to God. I've had so many teachers that were huge influences on me. I know I had Mr. Jason Bryce, who now teaches at Paulding County, but he was my drama teacher, and he got me, I really think him made me a lot more comfortable on a stage, goofing around and stuff, and kind of helped me come out of my shell even more with people staring at me. But there's plenty of teachers that I love, Miss Norman, a bunch of them, Miss Wright. Man, Paulding. That's just where I'm from, man. I've been here my whole life. I go to church here. It's what I've always been a part of. I know it's really crazy growing up here, and it's weird, man. It's weird being here and being invited to come sing for all these folks that have been my neighbors. But it's a really humbling thing. It's been an awesome place to grow up, and it's still my home.
Welcome to the March 2020 edition of Paulding Post. I'm Austin Haygood.
And I'm Felicia Womack. We have a packed show today, Austin, so let's get started. Our very own Kristen Hanbury braved the freezing waters at Roundtree Recreation on February 8th, taking part in the third annual Polar Plunge.
Kristen ended up raising $500 for Paulding Special Olympics, so let's jump into this chilly video.
So we are at the third annual Polar Plunge for Paulding County Special Olympics, and it is freezing cold. I just did it, and as you can see, I am frozen. It's snowing. It truly is a real deal polar plunge. I am glad we did it. Such a great cause, but I'm glad it's over with, and I'm ready to go home. It's cold.
Hey, we're here at Paulding County Animal Control.
And we're meeting this month's forgotten friends, Boris and Blaze, so come on in.
Today we're talking about Blaze. He's 3 years old, neutered. He's very sweet. He's playful. He's a good cat. He doesn't like too many friends. He likes to be on his own. I would like to introduce you to Boris. Boris also came in as a stray on January 12th. He's patiently waiting for a family to find him. He loves to play and he enjoys all people. We always recommend bringing any resident dogs to meet to be sure it's a perfect fit for everyone. If you're interested in visiting or viewing any animals, please give us a call or come visit us at Paulding County Animal Control, and give us a call at 770-445-1511.
We have a special guest today in our Paulding Post studio, Sergeant Ashley Henson with the Paulding County Sheriff's Office. He's here to tell us about a new initiative, the Paulding Sheriff's Camera Connect program. Ashley, can you just kind of tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So first of all, I'm glad to be here. From what I understand, I'm one of the first, maybe the first person to be here on set, so I'm really excited about that. But yeah, so Sheriff Gullidge wants to announce that we have a new initiative called Paulding Sheriff's Camera Connect. And basically it is a collaborative between citizens, businesses, and the Sheriff's Office itself. And what we're going to do, and it's not anything that hasn't been done in other agencies and other jurisdictions, but basically what we do is we are asking citizens and businesses to register their home and business surveillance camera systems with the Sheriff's Office. And what it's going to do, it's going to allow us to streamline the investigative process, and it will allow us to access a database that just has names, addresses of folks that have camera systems. So we're not going to have anyone's logins to their camera systems. We're not going to be like Big Brother. So it's going to be basically a database for us to access in order to see if someone might have footage of a crime that might have occurred in their neighborhood.
So what would someone be sharing with the Sheriff's Office?
So a lot of people are skeptical of sharing anything with government entities, and we definitely understand and respect that. But in this situation, all you're sharing is the fact that you, at your home, have a camera system, basically your name, your address, and the fact that you have a camera system and that you're willing to share footage with us. So it's not intrusive. We don't have passwords. We don't have access to any footage on your system unless you give it to us.
So what if I had cameras at multiple addresses?
That's a good question, because what we want to do is we want, say you own a family business and you have cameras there, but you also have at your home. So we would like to register both of those addresses, so you would have to do each address separately. So anyone that might have maybe elderly parents that might have cameras, or a business, or their own home, or whatever, we would definitely want them to register both or all of the addresses that are that have the camera systems.
Is it mandatory?
It's absolutely not mandatory. This is just something that we've looked at, and it's a way to help our detectives.
Well, thanks for being here with us today, Ashley. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, and I really appreciate the opportunity. But this is something that's very important. Start looking for these. We're going to start passing these out to our deputies who are going to hand them out to citizens. So please take the time, if you do have a camera system, to look at the QR code on the back of the card. And all you have to do is click your cell phone. It takes you right to the website. And we just want to encourage everyone to register their camera system. So if there is a crime that has occurred either to you or around you, we want to be able to try to get those folks arrested as quickly as possible. So thank you, and have a great day.
Joe Salvatore from Paulding County Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs was recognized in USA Archery News for his part in creating an Explore Archery program in Paulding County. Salvatore credits the USA Archery Certification Program as the key to Paulding County's success.
He was quoted as saying, "The training we got through the grant is awesome. All the techniques from USA Archery have been great and gave me all the knowledge I needed to go in and be prepared to teach a class."
We visited Mount Tabor Park as they kicked off their Trailblazers basketball program.
We spoke with Britt Grillo and Steve Card about this awesome program here in Paulding County. We're with Steve Card from Georgia Recreation and Park Association. Steve, tell us about this grant and how it came about.
Well, it's really been a 2-year opportunity with the Atlanta Hawks, and we were able to meet with them, and one of their core missions was to be able to grow the game of basketball across the state. It's a first-time basketball special needs program, so it's really exciting to see the Atlanta Hawks, who partnership with us, and the fruition of those funds going throughout the state to help grow the game of basketball.
So it's just real exciting. I'm glad, that the community is supportive of it, that we have a good crowd, the families really love it, and the kids are having a lot of fun.
Hi, this is Sandy Caker, your Post 2 County Commissioner. We are at Paulding County Airport, and we are in the hangar of Johnny Jenkins and Silver Comet Aviation. Silver Comet Aviation started next door in a small T hangar. As you can see, they have grown. They have several planes in here that they are working on and many more outside waiting. It's just showing you that this business is thriving right here at our own Paulding County Airport. We also have a museum of flight coming, and that will be within the next year. It should be up and running. We have our first piece to display that came in today. They're putting it up now. We also have the aviation school coming to Paulding County. We are working on that in the legislature right now, and hopefully that will be here in the next 2 to 3 years. That's it from Paulding County Airport.
Last month's Employee of the Month was David Davis in Community Development.
Let's learn a little about what David does for the county.
My name is Chris White. I work for the Paulding County Community Development Division as the senior engineer. I nominated David Davis for Employee of the Month. He is one of our senior stormwater inspectors. His job entails going out and actually doing physical inspections of various components of our stormwater system throughout the county, detention ponds, catch basins, ditches, to make sure that everything is operating smoothly, no deficiencies. From the very beginning, he showed initiative, a lot of enthusiasm, willingness to learn, and grasp the concepts of the job almost immediately. And furthermore, he took things to the next level with the way he organized the position overall. So without him, we wouldn't be where we are with our stormwater program at this point. He has far exceeded our expectations. Look forward to seeing more great work from him.
Well, Austin, it looks like you're ready for St. Patrick's Day.
After we're done here, I'm going to go look for me Lucky Charms.
Good luck to you.
Thanks, and happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
been around for 83 years. It's hard to believe that they've brought quality of life to this community since 1936. One of the greatest things that will happen in Paulding County.
And you just heard from Paulding County Commission Chairman David Carmichael. And I want to thank Chairman Carmichael and all the commissioners of Paulding County and their staff for assisting us in every way possible to help make this project move along and get us to this day. I can tell you, I can't speak more highly of what Paulding County has done to help us with this project. It's great to feel very welcome coming into the community with our headquarters anyway. We've been headquartered since inception in Douglas County, so this will be the first move in 83 years that we move our headquarters operation to Paulding County.
My fellow Paulding Countyans, I come to you today to talk about what we are doing here locally in Paulding County in response to the coronavirus global pandemic. We are following the advice of our Governor, Brian Kemp, in his office. We are listening to our Emergency Management Deputy Director, Stephen Dooley, to ensure that we are following the best practices to keep our staff and you as citizens as safe as possible. Therefore, effective Tuesday, March the 17th, 2020 at 5 p.m., in an effort to take precautions and limit exposure of person-to-person contact, the administration building, all park facilities, all libraries, and the Paulding County Water System Customer Service building lobby will close to the public. The water system drive-through services remain open to the public. The Paulding Sheriff's Office lobby is closed to non-essential functions. However, the sheriff assures us that they are still responding to all emergency calls. Paulding County will continue to provide services, and all county employees will report to work daily as normal. As the situation continues to develop, adjustments will be made, if necessary, to facilitate the delivery of services. Updates are received daily at noon from the Department of Public Health. As of today, Paulding has 3 confirmed cases, with Cobb having 37, Bartow having 26, and Polk having just 1. We recommend that you use credible news organizations instead of social media as your source of information on this pandemic, as social media is flooded with false information, rumors, and potential scams. Although our doors are closed to the public, rest assured that we are working here for you, our citizens. Please reach out to us by phone, email, or online for continued assistance. We as a community must remain vigilant to work together to navigate through this challenging time. Thank you, and God bless the citizens of Paulding County. Good afternoon and welcome. This time I'll call the Paulding County Board of Commissioners regular meeting to order on this March 10th of 2020. I don't see any elected officials in the room. We're excited to have the junior ROTC from Paulding County High School to come in and do the colors right after Commissioner Hart leads us in the invocation. Stand if you're able.
You know, Deidre always gives us a Bible verse, and today's was great. It was Proverbs 19:21. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Guys, I mean, nothing really matters if it's not His will, but we're going to get up here and we're going to try to do the things that are right by the county and by the people of this county, and at the end of the day, it is my prayer, and I'm sure the prayer of all y'all, that His will prevail. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you this day. We thank you for all these people who have joined us today, Lord. Lord, help us today as we sit and look over this agenda, Lord. We just pray that we'd make the right decisions, Lord. And Lord, that everything we would do would just be for the best of the county and the citizens of this county. Watch over and take care of us and our families. For your name we ask it. Amen.
March.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order. Arms. Post. Seat. Post. Present. Arms. Order. Arms. Post. Ride. Face. Forward. March.
Thank you, Paulding County High School ROTC. Thank you for being here. Under minutes, let me ask Brian to bring the sheet up. Thanks, sir. Action to adopt the February 25th, 2020 work session minutes and the February 25th, 2020 board meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Motion to approve and adopt by Commissioner Caker. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Stover. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And any opposed? That carries 5-0. No announcements. Under invited guests, we have none this afternoon. Under bid awards, number 1 is action to award the purchase of a street power broom to the lowest bidder, Cowan Equipment Company Incorporated, in the amount of $58,643.50. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Stover. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hart. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 5-0. Number 2 is action to award the local maintenance and improvement grant striping project, project number 20018-1505, to the lowest responsive bidder, Tidwell Traffic Solutions, in the amount of $69,579.30. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Commissioner Hart. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Caker. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries 5-0. Bid award number 3 is action to award the 2020 asphalt project contract 1 to the low bidder, Bartow Paving, in the amount of $2,388,034.25. All those in favor, we'll need a motion first. Thank you, Jason. He about hit me.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Commissioner Caker. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Is there any discussion? Now, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It carries 5-0. Bid award number 4 is action to award the 2020 asphalt project contract 2 to the lowest bidder, C.W. Matthews Contracting Company, in the amount of $2,602,345.49. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Commissioner Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Stover. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 5-0. Under reports from committees and departments, none. Public participation on agenda items, no one has signed up. Under consent agenda, it's action to approve the consent agenda items that we saw this morning. So I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Commissioner Caker. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hart. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 5-0. Under old business, we have none. Under new business, number 7 is action to approve the revisions to the Paulding County purchasing policy. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Commissioner Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Caker. Is there any discussion? Well, I think this is overdue, and I'm just glad that we've got this on the new business agenda for today. I'm excited about it. And I know Jimmy Renfro is, along with other department heads. So good job for this board in getting these changes made, and we'll review it again in 6 months and go from there. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries 5-0. New business number 8, action to approve the development agreement between the Paulding County Industrial Building Authority and Paulding County for extension of the East Hiram Sewer and State Route 92. I'm sorry. Action to approve the development agreement between the Paulding County Industrial Building Authority and Paulding County for extension of the East Hiram Sewer from State Route 92 to Laird Road.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Commissioner Hartzler, second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Stover. Is there any discussion? Lori, just thank you for your work on that. And, it's another good thing to increase possibility of commercialization in our county and help that tax imbalance that we live with today. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 5-0. New business number 9 is action to adopt resolution 20-11, confirming executive session for the purpose of pending and potential litigation. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Commissioner Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Caker. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 5-0. Let's see, Rebecca, if we can get through in another 20 seconds, I'll win the bet. That's the conclusion of regular business. No one has signed up for public participation on non-agenda items. This is a chance for post commissioners or myself to add an announcement. Are there any? Let's start from this side today.
I don't have anything.
Okay.
I'm good, Dave.
All righty. You have anything, Cindy?
I don't have an announcement, but I would like to thank George and Scott for going out with me yesterday and playing in the mud. I know they were up to their ankles in mud in some parts, so thanks for helping me out there.
What kind of shoes did you have on, Sandy?
I had on pumps. And I sunk to my ankles as well.
Ann thinks you need to go buy new shoes now. I heard that.
Ron, have you got any announcements? Or?
I don't, Dave.
Okay. Well, we have no requirement for executive session, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion we adjourn.
It's hard to beat Commissioner Davis on those adjournments.
Well, Chuck just looked down at me like, are you going to go ahead and do this?
I'll second it.
All right.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Carries 5-0. We stand adjourned.
make your voting experience successful, the Paulding County election staff offers the voters of Paulding County this instructional video on Georgia's new voting system. All voters should be prepared to vote by having their photo ID out, ready for verification and check-in. Once the photo ID is scanned, the poll worker will verify the voter. When the voter is verified, the voter will confirm by signing the electronic poll book. A voter card containing the ballot style of the voter will be made and issued to the voter. When the voter enters the voting area, they will insert their voter card into the ballot marking device. The voter will make their selection on the screen. Voters will select Next, located in the lower right corner of the screen, to advance the screen to the next race contained on the ballot. Voters may select Previous or Review at any time during the voting process to view their ballot or make changes. Once all races are voted, the voter has the opportunity to review their choices by using the scroll bar at the bottom of the screen. Should the voter desire to make changes, they may select Back to Ballot and review once changes are made. If the voter is satisfied with their choices, the voter will select Print Ballot. Their choices will be confirmed and the ballot will print. When the ballot prints, the voters will see a QR code which contains the selections they made. The selections will also be printed below a QR code for the voter's verification. There is no personal information contained in this QR code. When the voter is satisfied with their ballot, they will remove the voter card from the ballot marking device, take their voted ballot, and proceed to the ballot scanner. The voter will return their voter card to the station host, then insert their ballot into the ballot scanner to cast their vote. Once the vote is cast, it is final. The voter will receive their I'm a Georgia voter sticker, and their voting experience is complete. To demo the system in person, please visit the elections office or check out our Facebook page for a schedule of public demonstrations.
My fellow Paulding Countyans, I come to you today to talk about what we are doing here locally in Paulding County in response to the coronavirus global pandemic. We are following the advice of our Governor, Brian Kemp, in his office. We are listening to our Emergency Management Deputy Director, Stephen Dooley, to ensure that we are following the best practices to keep our staff and you as citizens as safe as possible. Therefore, effective Tuesday, March the 17th, 2020 at 5 p.m., in an effort to take precautions and limit exposure of person-to-person contact, the administration building, all park facilities, all libraries, and the Paulding County Water System Customer Service building lobby will close to the public. The water system drive-through services remain open to the public. The Paulding Sheriff's Office lobby is closed to non-essential functions. However, the sheriff assures us that they are still responding to all emergency calls. Paulding County will continue to provide services, and all county employees will report to work daily as normal. As the situation continues to develop, adjustments will be made if necessary to facilitate the delivery of services. Updates are received daily at noon from the Department of Public Health. As of today, Paulding has 3 confirmed cases, with Cobb having 37, Bartow having 26, and Polk having just 1. We recommend that you use credible news organizations instead of social media as your source of information on this pandemic, as social media is flooded with false information, rumors, and potential scams. Although our doors are closed to the public, rest assured that we are working here for you, our citizens. Please reach out to us by phone, email, or online for continued assistance. We as a community must remain vigilant to work together to navigate through this challenging time. Thank you, and God bless the citizens of Paulding County.
So on today's tour, we're going to go to 3 different places. We're going to go to see the dam that's under construction. Then we're going to go to the reservoir intake and pump station. and then we're going to come back here and see the plant, so you'll be able to see all of those different components. If you've traveled along Highway 61 over the last year, you're well aware of the pipeline, and I'm happy to say that that pipeline is finally off of Highway 61, so traffic is back to normal there. We thank you for your patience during that entire period. This is the dam that's under construction, and the reservoir is actually going to be going back this direction. So when we drove down that hill, you would have entered the water at that point, and it's going to be a lake from this point back. We're standing right now at an elevation of about 895. The normal water surface level will be 910. So we will be in, there'll be 15 feet of water above us when the dam is full. So if you turn around and look, you can imagine everything at our level back, all the way back to the far tree line will be covered in water. Now you see a bunch of trees are still there, you'll notice. We did that on purpose. We wanted to wait to clear the whole pool of the reservoir until we're right about to fill it. Because if not, every time it would rain, we'd have to deal with 300 acres of uncovered material. So we tried to limit the clearing initially to the area that's needed. So the dam itself, you can see it's an earthen dam. It uses about 2.5 million cubic yards of soil. So a typical dump truck holds about 10 yards. So if we had to bring this material in from off-site, it would have been about 250,000 dump trucks worth of soil. So luckily, they're able to use borrow areas on site and use that material here, so we're not having to bring any of that traffic out onto 61. The dam itself has a concrete core to it, a wall that runs down the center to prevent water from seeping through. And then additionally, in the bedrock below, grout was injected down 80 feet below the dam to prevent water from traveling under it. So there's a solid grout and concrete core that prevents water from seeping through. And then the rest of it is earth on top of that. The base of the dam is about 825 feet, and it's about 4,000 feet long when it's all in place. You'll see that structure out in the center, that tall concrete column, and then the two other concrete structures. There will ultimately be a bridge out to that center column, and that column will be used as an emergency overflow. In case too much water gets into the reservoir, it would flow through there and through a 60-inch diameter outlet pipe that goes downstream into Richland Creek. Now, when we created this, we basically dammed up Richland Creek, which means Richland continues. So if we were to trap all of the water, it would dry up the creek downstream. So we actually use that outlet structure to release small quantities of water to keep the stream going downstream. I mentioned all the water coming in here is pumped up, but we recognize some of that we're going to have to release from there to go downstream. And the permit has certain requirements for temperature and water quality, so we have certain levels within that structure we can pull water off of. If we pull from too deep, it may be too cold, so we can bring it up closer to the surface. Right now, they've placed about 2.2 million cubic yards of soil. They've got about 300,000 yards left to go. On a good day, they can do 14,000 yards. So we're within a month, hopefully, if the weather is good, to be able to get it done. And believe it or not, today is not an ideal situation, because when they place the soil, it has to have a certain moisture content. And one thing you notice today, it's dry. So the best situation is if it's raining like every third day for about a half of an inch. That keeps the soil moist enough to where they can do the work. What they have to do now is they have to spend a lot of time conditioning the soil, and you'll see water trucks. A lot of them are on lunch right now, but they have to constantly spray water out here to keep it the right moisture content, or else it gets really dry like this. And the flip side of that is we don't want it to be too wet, because then they can't get the right compaction either. And this entire fall and spring, from like September through March, they got very little placement done, because if you recall, we were getting rain after rain after rain, and it was just too wet. So they're making a lot of progress. We're anticipating within the next month and a half, they'll be able to top it out, and then they have to get all the grass established, wave protection, get everything ready to go, and then we'll be able to close the gate off and block Richland Creek and be ready to start bringing water in. The schedule for bringing water in is not until the fall time frame. That's when the pump station will be done on the Etowah. We'll start bringing water in and we'll fill it up at different levels. Because it's an earthen dam, the state really regulates how quickly we fill the dam. We can fill the first 30 feet of it as quickly as possible. So we could do that in probably 3 weeks. The next 30 feet, we can only do 2 feet per week. So that'll take about 15 weeks. And then the final 30 feet, because it's about a 90-foot depth, that has to be 1 foot per week. So that'll take 30 weeks. So from the time we start filling until it reaches its full pool, we're looking to close to a year to be able to fill it that entire distance. The whole time the state monitors the dam. This is a Class 1 dam, which is the highest level, similar to Allatoona Dam or Lake Lanier. This is the highest level dam that the state has, so it's very highly monitored. We couldn't ever allow trees or anything to grow on that. The public's not supposed to be on it, that type of thing. So the county ultimately will be responsible for maintaining the lake, both from the water supply standpoint, but then also from a recreation standpoint. The county owns the entire property around the lake, and part of the requirement is to have a 150-foot undisturbed buffer. So if you're out on the lake, you're not going to be able to see homes right up on it. People aren't going to be able to develop because the county owns the entire area.
And here we will have different levels that we can actually pull water from the reservoir, so that as the reservoir drops, if we're in a drought situation and the level drops, we'll be able to keep pulling water from lower and lower. When we get up here to the structure, and as you walk across this bridge, this is kind of open, so it'll feel high. But when the reservoir is full, we'll be about 12 feet above the water level. And the pumps that we see in here, they're vertical turbine pumps, but they're about, I think, 88, 87 feet deep. So they're really, really long. We'll see all that as we walk across. So y'all are welcome to come on across the scary bridge. And each one of these pumps can pump up to 9 million gallons a day. And we, of course, have 3 ends, so there's 27 million gallons a day of flow possible going up to the plant. The total amount that we can actually pump from the river, if the level is up at a high flow, we can go 45 million gallons a day to fill the reservoir. The initial size of the plant is going to be 18 million gallons a day, so an instantaneous flow of 45, you can do your total day flow in less than a day, obviously, just by pumping faster. In the future, as we go to a higher flow rate, we have some additional spaces here to put more pumps, and we'll basically just mirror this, put 2 more in there. We'll have a total of 5 pumps in this building.
As Russell said, we're pumping water from about a mile, that last mile we drove, along the roadway, and the pipeline comes up into the front of this building here, and this is where the main treatment process happens. At the far end of the building, we add a coagulant, a chemical that basically destabilizes the water and takes all of the particles that are within the water and causes them to come together and start to form larger particles. Then passes into a zone that's called DAF, or dissolved air flotation. We actually inject tons of air into the water. The air attaches itself to those particles and float all those particles to the surface. And it creates a mat of solids of everything that was in the water. And that goes off to waste into that thickener. And the clean water comes here and goes into the filters. And so these will be dual media filters. It'll be sand and anthracite. The water passes through, 5 feet of that media, and it pulls out any of the microscopic organisms that are within the water, and it comes out basically purified or cleaned. And then from here it goes downstream, and you can see those large blue tanks. Those actually have granular activated carbon, or GAC. So the same type of thing you would have like in a Brita filter. These are very large Brita filters, so the water pumps through those. It further cleans the water, and then it goes by gravity down. Chlorine is added to disinfect it, and it goes into that large white tank at the bottom. It's called a clear well. And that'll store about 6 million gallons of water. Paulding County, if you recall, I said uses about 12 million a day. So you guys are using 2 of those tanks a day worth of water. So we have some contact time to allow the chlorine to contact the water, and then it gets pumped that 13 miles down to the Highway 278 where it gets into the distribution system. There's a bunch of support activities to help that process happen. I said the solids go down there in that thickener. It basically raises the concentration of that sludge. It then gets pumped into that building that has a high-speed centrifuge, which is like a very, very fancy washing machine that basically spins the solids and removes the liquid. So what comes out of it is basically like dirt material, and then that gets disposed of. The building over there has all the chemicals that are used in the process, that coagulant I talked about, sodium hypochlorite, which is like a bleach that's used for chlorine, as well as fluoride for tooth protection, dental protection, and then those large tanks on the outside are actually lime. That's used for corrosion control and to raise the pH of the finished water going out in the system. I always laugh about bottled water because they try and do all these marketing ploys, right, about alkaline water, and you know, we've been adding alkalinity for years to tap water, but now they do it and they call it, they charge an extra $2 a gallon, but anyhow. So, don't get me started on that. So the water goes out in the distribution system. The facility has to be manned 24 hours a day. So there'll be a staff of about 12 people because you have to have multiple shifts. At a minimum, there'll always be 2 people on here at all times. The building directly across from us, you'll see when you leave, is an admin building. So there we have a laboratory where they do water quality monitoring. We have admin offices, we have locker rooms, we have a break room and a space, as well as a control room where they basically can control everything. I talk about bottled water. One of the benefits of tap water is that throughout this treatment process, there are online sensors that look at the water quality continuously all the way through the process. So if something's going wrong in the DAF unit, we would know it before it hit the filters. Something went wrong with the filters, we would know it before it hits the GAC. So there's all sorts of monitoring that has to happen continuously, real time around the clock. Bottled water, it's completely opposite. They're regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. They do periodic checks. So they'll run, you know, a month's worth of production and then they'll do a check. And if something goes wrong, then they have to do a recall. And that's why you always see recall for chicken and stuff, because it's totally different regulations. So you should feel confident that the water that you're getting, every drop of it is monitored real time throughout the entire process. And the treatment process we're using here is very similar to the process that's used by Cobb County Marietta Water Authority. So you can expect a very, very identical water quality to what you have now. It'll actually be better because you'll be closer to the source now. You won't have as high of a water age as you had previously with Cobb Marietta Water Authority.
I want to thank Stacy and her team at the Chamber, number one, first and foremost, for the glamour shot that you put on the front of the, no, that was my high school yearbook picture, maybe. But as you can see, it's a far cry different than the man before you today. Let's get a few things out of the way first and foremost. Number one, thank you for allowing me to serve you in House District 67. I sincerely consider it a great honor. I appreciate the ability to serve my community, my family. Many of you out there, I'm looking into the eyes of friends, supporters, those who I have cried with, prayed with, and campaigned with, worked with, and I greatly appreciate your support. To my colleagues, Ed Setzler, where are you, sir? Is there somewhere? He didn't leave already. Thank you. Ed is a mentor of mine. I've known Ed for many years, and I will get to that as we go through this of how friends can disagree. He is someone that I would go to bat with any day of the week. He is someone that I highly admire, and he is a great asset to the General Assembly. And I appreciate you, brother, very much. Please. And to my colleagues, Martin and Joseph, thank you for keeping me young. It's an honor to serve with you guys. We've had a great first year, and I appreciate it. I thank God that you guys are down there, and thank you all. I'll echo sentiments of Chairman Setzler. Thank you for sending these two gentlemen down there to advocate. I think we make a great team, and I appreciate you both. To start with, let's get it out of the way. I've heard all the jokes. I have received all the little fun gag gifts on the bill that I'm working on. So I wanted to start off with a slide to tell you what I'm not in favor of and what the bills that I have worked on is not. As you can see, Jeff Spicoli is here. Some of you may know who Jeff Spicoli is. Jeff Spicoli would not like our bill if you could scoot it over. I don't think it will scoot over a little bit. But what it says is that House Bill 324 is not the smoking use, either medically or recreationally, the smoking use of marijuana. That is something that, and rightly so, something that we've had to address for the last 5 years. It's something that when we started down this road, we needed to address. We also had a lot of explaining, I guess you could say, to do, but a clear delineation, a bright line between what we were endeavoring to do for the citizens in our state and what we are not going, the road we are not going down. As we go forward, a lot of people said, well, why you? And I can assure you, in my senior year in Romans and Galatians and taking Old Testament and New Testament, working at a local church, that I never in my wildest dreams, while I was sitting in senior level classes at Emmanuel College, about to go onto the mission field after graduation, that I thought I would ever be standing before any community talking about how wonderful marijuana was. The youth group that I pastored at that time, I'm sure their parents would have not seen that either. My mom and dad would have never seen that. But to tell you the story, and I want to set the stage because a lot of you in here maybe know this story. Some of you may be hearing it for the first time. Some of you even asked, Michael, why did you get involved in this? And this is why, right here. A little boy by the name of Caden Clark, number 19. He's sitting right there in the middle. His mother, Jax, is his brother on the other side, and his mother is Kim Clark. I knew her as Kim Shaw because I went to elementary and middle school with Kim Shaw. We were in 6th and 7th grade and 8th grade together at Nash Middle School in Smyrna, Georgia. I had not seen her since high school. And in December of 2013, I was walking in the Dallas Christmas Parade, and like we always do, we very much enjoy it. And to me, that's the Dallas Christmas Parade is kind of the beginning of Christmas. That's kind of the way I see it. That's how our family that's the kickoff of the Christmas season. And I got home and was just going through some emails and was about to get ready for a Christmas party for our family. And an email from Kim Shaw Clark popped up. Actually, it was a Facebook Messenger. And she said, I didn't even know you were an elected official. I live in Dallas, Georgia. And I'd like to know what your thoughts are on medical marijuana. And needless to say, I trying to find the delete button and wondering, did she see if I've opened this yet? And literally kind of pushed away from the desk. And these were my words. Oh, Lord, not this. I don't want to be this guy that, medical marijuana. This is a ruse, I just got elected. I don't want to deal with this. And something very, very interesting and something that changed my life at that moment happened. I heard my kids upstairs running and playing, 3 little girls. And I said, well, I'm going to read this and just kind of see what she's talking about. And she said, my son, Caden, has epilepsy. Matter of fact, intractable epilepsy. And he has multiple seizures daily. And Micah, we've tried everything under the sun. Matter of fact, we've had a portion of my son's brain removed surgically. to try and help stop the amount of seizures that he goes through on a daily basis. And I've included a short video, and I'd like for you to watch it and get back with me. I don't know if you will, but I hope that you will, because tomorrow we're moving to Colorado. And so I thought, wow, okay, I'm going to watch the video. And the video was a video of one of the Stanley brothers. It was a TED Talk series in Colorado about a little girl by the name of Charlotte Figge and an oil that they had produced called Charlotte's Web. And I was amazed by it. I sat and watched this video over and over again. And then I recognized I keep hearing my little girls running upstairs and playing. And at that moment, the way I believe, I felt like the Lord said, so what would you do? And I had to kind of stop. I said, if this was one of your little girls running upstairs, what would you do? So I emailed about 15 legislators. I said, well, what are y'all's thoughts on this? And, just want to get your feedback. And they started sending feedback in. And I was really convicted at that moment. I want to know more about this. So I talked to my pastor, I talked to my family, all during the Christmas break. And I was really torn on this issue. And then I met this guy, J-Bo Wages. Some of you know J-Bo, and if you know J-Bo, he's not a quiet man. He's a very, very vocal individual. And I'd never met him before. And he wanted to introduce me to his daughter. Is that it, J-Bo? Well, thank y'all so much. That was quite easy, I think. Appreciate y'all being here. He wanted me to meet his daughter, and Charlie Watts had set that up, so I'm indebted to Charlie Watts. And I spent 4 hours on the phone with J-Bo Wages. And I'm going to tell you when I spent that 4 hours. Because the year this was happening, y'all remember the snowstorm that hit Atlanta? That was the night I spent 4 hours on the phone with J-Bo. Because I knew, we'd gotten to the legislature. Alan Peake had approached me, and he had said, hey, I've got this bill. Are you going to sign it? And I was like, you're not supposed to know that I'm interested in this. He said, well, you're the only one that, anybody has said would sign this bill. I need to drop it, and we at least need another signature. So I signed the bill. And from that point on, I was in deep. And I needed to know as much as I could about this bill. And then the snowstorm hit. And I knew that the Douglas County Sentinel had posted a front page article, Gravely signs medical marijuana bill. And I was like, I hadn't even had time to explain this to anybody. I hadn't had time to talk about this to anybody. My dad's calling me, Sheriff Miller is calling me, Sheriff Gullidge is calling me. And I thought, I didn't get out in time to make it back home, darn it, before the snowstorm. Thank you, Lord, because I didn't want to come back home. I didn't know what to say to people, to be quite honest with you. And I sat in my Capitol office that night and watched Netflix and read as much as I could. And then I got a phone call from J-Bo, and we talked for 4 hours. And he told me about his daughter. And it was at that point where I said, Lord, we are elected to do things for people. We're elected to serve people in an honest manner. And sometimes that's going to be tough. But a lot of times, I always said to myself, I never want to be that person that sits on the sidelines when there's an issue at hand. I want to dig in. I want to dive in. But I didn't necessarily want to dive into this. I thought it might be tax policy or gun policy or education or whatever. And the Lord said, well, that's not of your choosing. Here's an opportunity for you to help people. And that's what you've said you wanted to do. Do you want to truly help people? And it may be a little rough and bumpy, but here's an opportunity. It's up to you. And at that time, I knew this is something that was going to become a passion of mine. And I had a conversation. I called my dad back, and I said, I've been trying to get in touch with you. I know you have. And he said, I just want to ask you one question. Did you pray about this? You really, son, this is on the front page of the newspaper. Mom and I don't know what to say to people when they're calling. And I said, Dad, I have thought about it. I have prayed about it. And I'm going to ask you the same question I felt like I was asked. If this was Hope, Bella, or Abby, what would you do? Where would we go? What extent would we do for them? And a lot of, it's not as easy as saying that, but when you think about it and you drill down, what are you willing to do for your child or a loved one in this type of situation? So these are the faces of House Bill 324. This is why we started all of this. This is why we went to bat at the Capitol, where kids across the state who had epilepsy, cancer, Dravet syndrome, Lennox-Gastaut, mitochondrial disease, Tourette syndrome, autism, those are the kids. We got to know who these families were. We got to find out who they were. Now, I don't want to sit and just tell you an emotional story. Ladies and gentlemen, we were dealing with a federally illegal drug. This is a Schedule I narcotic. By definition, a Schedule I narcotic is no medical value, highly addictive. And here we have these families, these children, and their parents who either were treating at CHOA, they were at Augusta, and they've tried everything. The seizures aren't stopping. Their neurologists, their pediatricians are talking with them. Now all of a sudden this talk about an oil comes up, and this video is being referenced in Colorado. What are you going to do? Well, these parents were grasping for straws. They didn't know what to do, so they were all going to try it. And lo and behold, it was working for some of them. Matter of fact, these kids, 3 of them in that photo were on adult dose levels of opioids. They were comatose, levels that would only be prescribed for adults, and that's what the doctor who prescribed them said during testimony. And they were coming off of these, and they were experimenting with this oil, and the seizures were dropping. So I stayed in touch with J-Bo, and we worked through this, and the first bill in 2013, House Bill 885, it was 2014, we got it through the House, and what that did was that simply allowed these families to possess 20 ounces or less of low THC medical cannabis oil. It did not pass the Senate that year, so we had a study committee that we went statewide on, and we traveled the state talking. We went from Augusta Medical to Mercer University and their medical school. We were here in Atlanta, we were in West Georgia, and we were hearing from doctors and law enforcement and parents, and the rooms were packed. Something was happening. And we were able to come back with House Bill 1, and we were able to pass that bill. Now, can you tell me, just raise your hand if you know, I told you the year just a minute ago, what year did we first pass the first medical marijuana bill in the state of Georgia? 2014. Let's try 1979. George Busby was in the governor's office. Lieutenant Governor Zell Miller was in the lieutenant governor's office. Yeah, that was where he was. And Tom Murphy was in the speaker's office. And a man by the name of Verrill Smith, who represented Palmetto, Georgia, was advocating for a woman by the name of Mona Taff. And Mona Taff was a young, beautiful lady who was married to a man by the name of Harris Taff. And Harris Taff had been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And she came down to the legislature and she advocated on behalf of her husband. Why? Because during his chemo and radiation therapy, a nurse pulled her aside and said, "This is killing him. Matter of fact, he's not eating. He's lost a tremendous amount of weight. He's one of those that just doesn't respond to this type of therapy." And she said, "I don't know what to do. He's not sleeping. He's withering and he's going fast." And she said, this was her testimony, "If you give him some marijuana, it'll help him. And if you tell anybody I said that, I'll lose my job." So Mona Taft embarked on getting Harris some marijuana. Now, at that time, it was the smoking kind. But she did, and she chronicled Harris's response. His nausea went away. His appetite came back. And the doctors even commented on the fact that his immune system was actually starting to fight the cancer. Now, Harris didn't live long after that. He lived for about 6 months to a year. But she came and advocated because she saw a difference in Harris's life. So the first bill that passed in the state of Georgia for medical marijuana was a smoking use of the plant, and it was for stage 4 cancer and glaucoma. And the medicine was supposed to be received out of the University of Mississippi, which had a NIDA designation, which means National Institute of Drug Abuse, and they were going to get that. Georgia was going to just get that shipment from there, and we were going to allow our patients with those diagnoses to use. problem was NIDA designation doesn't allow for production and distribution. It's simply a federal government designation that allows you to study and grow it. That's it. So no one in Georgia ever received any of the Mississippi University marijuana. So we had to do something. So we came in, we struck in House Bill 1, we struck smoking, we put in oil use, and we had about 8 diagnoses. And we were able to pass that bill. And it was a great day for Georgians. A lot of these families that were moving to Colorado were going to plan on coming home. Caden Clark's dad never got to go with him. And this was the most interesting part about Caden Clark's dad. Caden Clark's dad is a 25-year veteran over narcotics with the Atlanta Police Department. And I always found that very, very interesting. And he was who I would work with and get details on him and Kim and how Caden was doing. Well, we soon found out that that bill had one problem. You can possess it in the state of Georgia, and you can treat with it, and these diagnoses and these kids are going to be able to treat with their doctors, and you sign up on a registry card, and you're legally allowed to possess it if you present the card, but there's nowhere to get it. You can't grow it. You can't sell it. You can't purchase it. The only way they were getting it was you had to smuggle it in. So these parents quickly found out, this is great, Micah. You and Alan have, done a great job, but we have no ability to do this. And the medical costs alone are draining us. We've now then to incur travel costs, lodging, and when you get to these other states that were passing bills like this, those states' laws said non-residents are not allowed to get their oil. So here we were in a catch-22. So these parents started forming groups, and they started traveling across state lines to different states that were growing it. They were having to buy flower marijuana, weed. I guess I don't know what other thing to call it. And they were bringing bags of marijuana back to Georgia. Now, how many federal laws do you think they're breaking? They're now drug trafficking. Not only could you be stopped in Kansas or Oklahoma or Alabama, Tennessee, and you're a carrier of marijuana. And they weren't just getting a little bit, because who would spend $1,000 or so have to purchase large amounts because you didn't want to have to go every month? They were bringing large amounts back in their kitchen, pulling up YouTube videos on how to extract the oil out of it so that they could give it to their child. And that's by testimony in the Georgia House of Representatives. So we had a problem. We needed cultivation. But while all of that was going on, not only were these the faces of cannabis, so were these individuals. We were finding out that it was helping with adults who were illegally getting it, whether it be Dallas Manning with adult autism, pretty far on the spectrum, Melissa Davenport or Dave Cook with ALS. These individuals were starting to say, it's helping me, or my doctor has asked me, he thinks that this may help me, or she thinks that I should apply for a license. Then it became the fastest growing population that we have. Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's. Even today, this is our fastest growing demographic. Now see, I've been helping all these kids. I've been working with J-Bo. He was telling me that Sydney's seizures are reducing. Matter of fact, we just pulled her off of all opioids. And our neurologist is a little cautious about it, but he even said, Micah, that she's doing better than I've ever seen her before. The school system has said Sydney's responding. Her motor skills, her eyes, she's trying to communicate. We were getting those reports from across the state with different kids, different parents. And all this while I was working on behalf of these kids, and I loved it. And I had to address my own family. You see, that's Heather's grandmother. That's Jean Butler. And if you see that beautiful face, go back here, change. I had to take a look at the bigger picture of this issue, because that's Miss Jean and Pawpaw Butler. They always put me in the back. I'm up there, the fat guy in the green sweater. I'm always in the back of the picture. But that's our family. and those are my daughters in front. And we would always have family get-togethers at Papa Butler and Granny Jean's house. And that was in 2016 right there, or 2015, I'm sorry. And she was vibrant. She was, that grandmother that always has something cooked when you get there. And if it's been eaten by one of the other family members, she is not, you don't have to ask her. She's just cooking and she's making something and it's ready for you. And it was just a wonderful time. We spent Christmases and Thanksgivings. We were very fortunate. We all live in the same community in South Paulding. So that was life for us. I was very blessed. And within a year, you couldn't recognize her because dementia, and some of you may have heard of sundowners. Sundowners, when the evening time comes and the hallucinations are just more than you can bear. And so I knew that this was an issue. I'd always thought about kids. I'd always been working with kids. And so I approached Papa Butler and I said, Papa, I think this could help. Do you want us to look into possibly getting Granny some oil? He said, no, I'm just not going to go down that path. I said, okay, listen, it's in your time frame. A year went by and it became increasingly hard for him. He's 75. They're pillars of their community, very active at New Georgia Baptist Church. And one night he called and he said, I think I'm ready to do something because Paulding County Sheriff's Office has just returned Granny back to the house at 10:30 in the evening. And she had been walking up and down Ridge Road in her nightgown, and he said, I got to do something. I got to do something. So we were able to get her the oil, and guys, I'm going to tell you, this is unbelievable stuff. She came off of 3 medications. The hallucinations stopped. And as a 75-year-old man trying to manage the love of his life, he said it's easier. She's not as anxious. We go to bed. I can sleep through the evening. She's not trying to get outside. And he said, Micah, I never thought I'd say this, but this is working for her. There's no side effects. Her doctor knew about it. And it was unbelievable. But yet again, now there's a waiting list because the oil that we were using to get to people that was being shipped in to those that couldn't get it became 4,500 on the waiting list. So it was 1, 2, 3, it ended up being 6 months before just a bottle of oil could get to somebody. So we had to do something. We had to say, okay, listen, we've got to do something. The federal government, we've done resolutions, we've stood in the well of the House and asked the federal government to act, reschedule this, even down to a Schedule 2. And a lot of the pushback kept coming was, well, Micah, there's no medical, the medical community is just not weighing in on this. As a matter of fact, the law enforcement community, overwhelmingly opposes it, but there was law enforcement officers that were coming forward and saying, listen, I support this. But still, you do not have the medical community. So we were able to kind of roll along, and it's Granny with my daughters, her great-grandchildren. Lo and behold, I found this. Federal government owns the patent on cannabinoids. Isn't that fantastic? Matter of fact, isn't that amazing? You can Google it on your phones right now. U.S. patent 6630507. Now I want to read something to you that says it on this because this opinion was written by the NIH. Anybody know who the NIH is? National Institute of Health. And their scientists wrote this opinion. Because federal government, I started this process, or I became aware of this process in 2013. They applied for this patent in 1999. It was rejected, and then it was approved in 2003. That's 10 years before we even became aware of it. I want to read something to you. Cannabinoids have been found to have antioxidant properties. This newfound property makes cannabinoids useful in the treatment of oxidation-associated diseases, such as ischemic, age-related, inflammatory autoimmune diseases. The cannabinoids are found to have particular application as neuroprotectants. Wow. For example, in limiting neurological damage following ischemic insults such as stroke and trauma, or in the treatment of neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and HIV dementia. non-psychoactive cannabinoids are particularly advantageous to use because they avoid toxicity. Federal government owns it. Now, the biggest push against us during this last 5 years, okay, good, we've got 4 o'clock, okay. The last 5 years has been the pharmaceutical industry. This is not going to work. This is not going to work. You can't do this. There's no double-blind placebo clinical trials. There has been no FDA testing. You cannot do this. One of the biggest ones actually came and identified themselves to the committee hearings. You just can't do this. This is not good. This is dangerous. Was GW Pharmaceuticals, a European-based pharmaceutical company. And they just pushed and pushed and pushed. And I thought, well, how? The evidence is here. The anecdotal evidence is here. Why aren't we able to move forward on this? I mean, committee after committee, study after study. What's the problem, guys? We can do this in a controlled environment. We have every known carcinogen and disease locked in a building called the CDC in Atlanta, and we've been able to keep it secure and in a controlled environment. Surely we can do the same for this. Surely that's possible to be able to get help to our citizens. GW Pharmaceuticals, absolutely not. Well, GW Pharmaceuticals then came to market with their own version of medical cannabis oil. And I thought, how interesting was that? They opposed it, and all the while they were doing clinical trials, and they came to market with Epidiolex, FDA approved. And I thought, this is great. I mean, I'm not against it. It's great. Let's do something. Problem was, none of the patients that we were dealing with, only a small handful, even qualified for the clinical trial here. And it was done in Augusta. And then once they started taking it, it didn't have the effect on it because it was a synthetic. It had been buried down so far in the synthesizing of that product that it wasn't having the natural effect that natural cannabis oil was having. So you did see some reduction in seizures, but you didn't see as much as you did with the natural oil. And now the reports are coming out that this is almost $32,000 a year through insurance, because this will be covered through insurance. But how are you going to afford it? So we had to do something, ladies and gentlemen. We had to do something. And that something was House Bill 324, the Georgia Hope Act. Now, I backed away from this. You know, you can take a lot of heat for something. And a lot of times it starts getting old. You know, you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. You want to re-gear. And I said earlier with Chairman Setzler, the opposition is good. Chairman Setzler, if anybody kept me in line, it was him. Because I knew I didn't want this to go down a recreational path. I knew that I wanted a true medicinal research standard bearer. We are the place for this to be done right. Colorado had come to us during the testimonies and said, please don't go down the route we did. That was their testimony. They pulled us aside, Alan Peake and I both, and they said we had something really good with the medical understanding of what we were doing. We had research analysis coming, we had medical professionals, and then we opened the door for recreational. And it has become the Wild West. Y'all, please don't do that. So I was committed to that. I gave my word to Sheriff Gullidge. I gave my word to Phil Miller. I'm going to do this, but I will not let it, I'm not going to support smoking use of it. And then I started doing an analysis of the states that had implemented some type of medical policy and within 2 to 3 years had then transitioned into full-blown recreational use of the plant. There are 10 states. 9 put it on a ballot initiative and let the people vote for it. 1 did it as a legislative measure. Overwhelming majority all started with the smoking medical use. So those societies had already been somewhat accustomed or desynthesized, or well, we've already got it medically smoking. Georgia did not. We stayed with the oil-based use. So what the HOPE Act does is this. It simply says that 8 companies will be allowed, be issued private licenses to grow cannabis in the state of Georgia. 6 will be true private companies. 2 will be allotted to the university system. The University of Georgia and Fort Valley State University are 2 land-grant universities. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to go down 85, I-16, 75, I-20 and see blowing fields of marijuana. It's just not going to happen. This is going to be in a highly controlled environment with requirements that only a few companies are ever going to be able to obtain. I want to tell you, as we started going through this, and what truly helped us was the medical community did start weighing in. And the bill was endorsed by Leading Age Georgia, which is a faith-based organization that specifically deals with elder care in the state of Georgia, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, Dr. Larry Toon at Emory University, he's a neurologist, an Alzheimer's specialist, Dr. Ben Thrower at the Shepherd Center, neurologist, Dr. Oliver Glass, a geriatric psychiatrist at Emory University, Americans for Prosperity came out and endorsed the bill publicly, Dr. James Huffman, a pediatrician in Moultrie, Georgia, and I've got their letters. They sent letters to the legislature. They started saying, we need to study this. And I asked, I said, well, why now? We've been working on this. And all of them came to the table in their testimony and said, because we've wondered why our patients were doing better. We've wondered why cognitive ability has returned. We've wondered why some of the symptoms of dementia has almost stopped, according to some of my records. Dr. Scott Cooper with Northside Neurology came and testified. And he said, I am 100% in favor of this bill. However, I have not signed off for any of my patients at this time. And I said, well, why is that? He said, because my patients, I took an oath to do no harm. He said, and I'm treating my patients, I care deeply for my patients. He said, and I've noticed a tremendous change. And this was his testimony to the House and Senate. I've noticed a tremendous change. And the change is, I had to ask, well, what are you doing? I mean, your spasticity levels are way down. Things are going well. Your blood count's right. What are you doing? And they were hesitant at first because they were getting it illegally. And I said, you've got to tell me. I'm not going to go tell anybody. And they all said, we're using medical cannabis oil. And his next question was, where are you getting it? He said, see, that's where my concern is, Micah, because I found out that they were ordering blindly off of the internet. Now, I'll tell you one story. A pastor called me here in Paulding County, and the pastor said, hey, Mike, I'd just like to talk to you about this. I've been diagnosed with one of the eligible diseases. I'm using the oil, but I'm not going to continue using it. I said, well, why is that? And he said, well, I fell down after I took some of it. I got a little lightheaded. I said, well, did it have a bad effect on you? This is kind of the first, and that really isn't one of the side effects that some of the medical professionals are citing. And he said, it worked, but I just felt a little woozy. And I said, Pastor, will you get the bottle for me and read it over the phone here? He said, sure. And I said, well, read the ingredients. Number one, where did you get it? And he said, he told me the place, and I thought, oh, no, it's this kind of internet company that we don't know where it is, to be quite honest with you. He said, I ordered it from there, and I said, well, what's the ingredients? He said, well, it's 50% CBD, 50% THC, and I thought, I said, Pastor, I don't want you to tell your congregation what I'm about to tell you, but you were high, Pastor. There's no bones about it. That's what happened. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Okay. And he said, oh, my Lord. And I thought, but that was the reason why we needed something in state. We needed something that these people would not have to travel out of state, that they wouldn't have to order blindly. This was stuff that people were putting into their children, people were putting into a loved one. We needed something that we could regulate here in the state of Georgia, that we could control. House Bill 324 will allow a commission to be created by the governor, who will have 3 appointees. The speaker will have 2, and the lieutenant governor will have 2. It will be a 7-member commission that will oversee this industry in the state of Georgia. The regulatory process will go as this. They will have to meet a 24-hour security surveillance system. They will have to be in a bricks and mortar controlled environment. There will be no advertising. There will be no vaping. There will be no food products. They will have to submit to the GBI, the state legislature, and local law enforcement for a spot inspection at any moment. They have to get the approval of the local city municipality or the county and or the sheriff's office to be able to even locate in a community. They also have to be able to provide data a year out, where their oil is going from seed to sale. All of that will happen here in the state of Georgia. And folks, let me tell you, do you know the acreage that will be grown of all licenses put together? The acreage will be 9.5 acres. The only people that will be able to obtain this oil will be card holders who are registered with the state and who meet the eligible diagnosis. The doctors who sign for these card holders have to register with the state so that we know who they are. They have to do an annual check. They have to do a review. We will have a study committee specifically tasked with finding out the results that these doctors are treating with their patients on. And ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, of all the opioids, of everything, this is what we're talking about. This is not a rollable joint. This is not a syringe that gets put into a vein. It's an oil that a child can put under a parent can put under a child's tongue, or a loved one can be put under their tongue. You will be able to do a lotion or a gelatin capsule or a transdermal patch. That's all that will be allowed in the state of Georgia. Be highly regulated. It will cost a great deal of financial investment for these companies that want to invest, and that is to be able to cover the machinery. It is to be able to cover the cost of doing that type of business. Every bottle will be lab tested. Patients in this state will go to a facility and they will be able to know that the bottle they are receiving and putting into their loved one, they know where it came from, it's been tested, they know the data and the background on each and every bottle they receive. And I'll end with this. Thank you so much. Two things. The law enforcement came together. Joe Jerkins. Does anybody know Joe Jerkins, mayor of Austell? One of the most powerful letters we received was from Austell Police Chief Bob Sterrett, who said, as a law enforcement officer, I have committed my life to the use of illicit drugs. I will fight to continue getting them off the streets, and I will never support recreational use of marijuana. But my best friend was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and I have his letter right here, and he wrote a full page of how he participated in Joe's therapy with him. And he said, I saw my best friend, the mayor of this community, unable to sign his name to city checks or documents or resolutions because of how Parkinson's affected him. And I've now seen an oil change his life. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to smoke marijuana in this state, you could probably go out those doors and in less than 20 minutes find that substance to do with it what you will. It's available. Anybody in this room, and certainly the sheriff's office and police department, can tell you that. But if you wanted to get an oil that's been lab tested and that you know where it is to put in your child or your loved one, you can't do that in our state. And House Bill 324 is going to change that. These licenses, the commission is going to be named here in the next week or two, hopefully, at least hopefully by the end of September. Once those licenses are awarded, you have 12 months to be up and running and to have oil ready for the citizens in this state. That's it. That's all. And I will commit to you that this is not recreational. These are law-abiding citizens and families who are simply wanting to help a loved one get a medicine that works. So thank you for allowing me to serve you, and thank you for allowing me to present today. I'll be after for questions, and thank you for allowing me to go over as well.
In 2019, the Paulding County School District had multiple incidents where students were impacted negatively by vaping. As a result of those incidents, the Paulding County Sheriff's Office, the Paulding County School District, and the Paulding County Board of Commissioners came together to form an alliance to combat the vaping epidemic. Each year, the Paulding County Sheriff's Office, the School District, and the Board of Commissioners host 3 alcohol drug awareness programs in an elementary, middle, and high school. One of the ways in which the alliance decided to combat the problem is to educate at the ADAP program. At our ADAP events, we have incorporated a vaping segment which teaches students the dangers of vaping. Here are some clips from the vaping presentation at Poole Elementary. So why are we talking to you guys, elementary age kids, about vaping and the dangers of cigarettes and alcohol? Why? Because when you get to be a little bit older, you're going to be faced with choices, okay? And so who's a 5th grader? Raise your hand if you're in 5th grade. Have you guys started your DARE program yet? You finished. Awesome. I will try to be here at your DARE graduation. But what did you learn about making the best what? Best possible decisions. That's exactly right.
Here at Poole Elementary School today, where the alcohol drug awareness program is taking place for all the students, the goal of the program is to talk about the importance of making good choices. And one of the things that's so incredible to me about this is the collaboration that we have with our Board of Commissioners, our Superior Court judges, and our Sheriff's Office as a community coming together to talk to kids about that importance of making good choices. This is just one way that we collaborate together in support of our students and our community. And on behalf of the school district, I can tell you it's greatly appreciated.
Is it legal to have a vape or a cigarette or anything like that while you're a student in school here in Paulding County? No, it is not. It is absolutely not. We take kids, and sometimes they get arrested, sometimes they have school sanctions, but it is illegal for a student to possess a vape.
I'm very thankful that we can collaborate with the Sheriff's Office and with the school system, the school board, in addressing this issue of drug problems that probably every county in the United States has. And with a new problem that's come along, vaping, something that we really want to work together to address and to confront.
Our deputies have seen firsthand the problems of vaping in our school system. We are committed to working with the Board of Commissioners and also the Board of Education to combat this problem.
I truly feel blessed to work in a community where our 30,226 students are supported by our Sheriff's Office, our Board of Commissioners, as well as our municipalities. The purpose of the program that's being presented here today at Elementary is giving students information on making right choices. I would just encourage our parents, grandparents, and others to talk to your students about the dangers of vaping and illegal drugs, because these are life choices that can have a lifelong impact. Again, I'd like to thank this community and our partners for supporting our students.
Speaking on behalf of the entire Board of Commissioners, all 5 commissioners, and really our staff, we are totally committed more in a support role with the Sheriff's Department and with the school board and the school system staff to come together and make our approach to the vaping problem stronger. And I look forward to all the kids in Paulding County having the resources to make good choices in this area.
Parents, make sure to talk to your children about the negative consequences of vaping. Not only could you have lasting health impacts, but you could also have criminal charges. And remember, it is illegal to take any type of vaping device to school regardless of your age. In the fall of 2019, Runner's World magazine contacted us at the Paulding County Sheriff's Office about doing an article on the Silver Comet Trail. Specifically, they wanted to know how we kept the Silver Comet Trail safe and what all went into that. Corporal Mike Ellison, who is assigned as a supervisor for the Silver Comet Trail Patrol, was highlighted in their article. Being a veteran deputy with the Paulding County Sheriff's Office, Corporal Mike Ellison always goes above and beyond when he's on duty. Corporal Ellison is an excellent deputy and is the epitome of what a deputy sheriff should be. Every day that he works, he's always out helping the public, making sure to keep our trails safe. Having deputies out on the trail is an extremely valuable asset because it gives the bicyclists and the cyclists and the walkers, gives them the added peace of mind knowing that someone is out there keeping them safe while they're out exercising. Deputies patrol the trail during daylight hours, Monday through Sunday. Whether your bicycle breaks down or you just need a lift, the Paulding County Sheriff's Office always has a deputy out on the Silver Comet Trail. And congratulations to Corporal Mike Ellison, who helps keep one of our most beautiful assets, the Silver Comet Trail, safe every day.
What is the 2020 census? Every 10 years, the census records everyone living in this country. It's written in the Constitution and comes in a questionnaire that counts everyone who lives at your address on April 1st. The data can be used to inform funding for services like fire stations, schools, clinics, and representation that affect your community. Shape your future. Start here. Visit 2020census.gov.
Happy March, everyone. You know, I have to tell you, Elizabeth, January lasted forever. February, maybe 2 days, and now we're already in March.
I know, this year is already flying by, and before we know it, it'll be Christmas.
Oh no, let's not talk about that just yet. It's about to be spring, and we have a lot going on. I'm Jessica Lord.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the PC Scene.
The Dallas Theater is proud to present Got Elvis, starring Chad Gibson, Friday, March 27th at 7:30 and Saturday, March 28th at 7 o'clock.
Chad Gibson returns with this wildly entertaining tribute to Elvis. This year, both shows will include the most loved of Elvis's gospel music.
Get your tickets early as these both sell out. Tickets are $16.
Now let's check in with Dee Hunter with our parks update.
Hello and welcome to Paulding County Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. We are excited you could join us today at Mount Tabor Park. Mount Tabor Park is located at 1550 East Paulding Drive, Dallas, Georgia. This park is centrally located and is easily accessible from anywhere in the county. This campus accommodates a variety of recreational needs to include 4 newly renovated tennis courts, 5 ball fields, 1 indoor basketball court, a racquetball court, a playground area, and 3 levels of hiking and biking trails that surround our pond. We are also home to the county's 9/11 Memorial Liberty Garden. Mount Tabor is one of the home parks to our girls volleyball and girls softball leagues, as well as our adult softball leagues. These athletic programs are currently underway for the spring season. Please stop by if you are in the area to cheer on one of these events. You will surely walk away with a smile on your face. We offer a variety of programs and activities throughout the entire year. For the adults, we have Pilates, yoga, Zumba, and karate. For the children, we have dance and gymnastics, as well as little kickers, sporties for shorties, super tots, and karate. In addition, we have a Lego therapy club as part of our adaptive recreation programs. Each of these programs has been specifically designed to meet the request of our citizens. So, stop by, look around, and grab a program guide today. We look forward to seeing you here.
Pickett's Mill Battlefield Historic Site has quite a few events coming up this month.
Join them for their first annual celebration of National Quilting Day on Saturday, March 14th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
There will be displays by groups and individuals, period music, and special presentations.
On March 21st at 7 p.m., take a guided lantern-lit walk through historic grounds at Pickett's Mill.
It's a night of learning about legends, lore, and other stories of old. Tickets are $10.
Cast Iron Chefs, Grown in Dirt and Cooked in Fire is back at the battlefield on Saturday, March 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
The Cast Iron Chefs will gather together to demonstrate their skills.
Come out to observe, sample food, and play games all under the canopy of Southern Pines.
For more information about these events at Pickett's Mill Battlefield Historic Site, contact them at 770-443-7850. Now, let's take a look at what's happening at our local libraries.
This month, we're at the Crossroads Public Library, which is off of Harmony Grove Church Road at the north end of Paulding County. We join them for story time, which happens every Thursday at 11 a.m. There's a different theme every week, so be sure to join them next time for stories, songs, and a craft. Join the New Georgia Public Library for a DIY foosball table making class. There will be 2 classes, one on March 12th at 5 p.m. and the other will be on March 25th at 12 p.m. To sign up, please call, message the Facebook page, or sign up in person to secure your spot. Jessica Northrop, a licensed counselor who has formal training in Brené Brown's methods, will be at the Crossroads Library March 19th at 5:30 p.m. to discuss shame and vulnerability. The program is geared towards adults, but there will be a small children's activity, so feel free to bring your children along. Join the Hiram Library for the Youth Success Workshop on Mondays 5:30 to 7:30 starting in March. This is an 8-week series designed to help bring out the best in youth. Students will engage in an interactive and fun workshop led by Coach Brooks, youth minister, life coach, and author. If you missed the first class, you're still welcome to attend. Just be sure a parent or guardian joins you for your first class. The Dallas Library is having a pancake art event March 28th at 10 a.m. for ages 12 to 19. They will be creating yummy pancake art based off of your favorite characters or objects. You can register by calling, messaging on Facebook, or signing up in person. For more information, you can visit wgrls.org or visit our Facebook pages. The Senior Center is planning a historic bus tour to Jonesboro for March 12th.
It's $25 and includes many museums, the Claiborne Memorial Confederate Cemetery, the Fitzgerald Home, and more.
They will also be taking a day trip to Ponce City Market. The market has a wide variety of stores and restaurants to visit where you can enjoy a day of shopping and fellowship.
The day trip is scheduled for March 26th and is $10. For more information, please contact the Senior Center.
The Board of Commissioners meetings for the month of March are on March 10th at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m.
And on March 24th at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m.
It's voting time. A big year for elections is coming up, and it starts now.
The presidential preference primary will be held on March 24th. Early voting begins on March 2nd and runs through March 20th. For more information, please contact the election office at 770-443-7503.
To check your registration status, sample ballots, or precinct location, visit My Voter Page Georgia.
March is looking to be a very busy month.
It sure is. Make sure to get out there and enjoy all the exciting events happening around the county. Thanks for joining us this month on the PCC.
And don't forget to wear green on the 17th.
Elementary School.
Pretty cool, huh? Watch this, ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Look at that. Did you see that? Okay. Somebody got a picture of Penguin? Take a picture of it?
You make a mistake and you just try again.
Making good choices and why it's so important to make those choices.
All right, good morning, everybody. What a great day in Paulding County. We gather here this morning with excitement as the Costco warehouse will be right there in the fairly near future. We're proud to have each and every one of you here today, braving us. I was going to say winter weather, but it's pretty pleasant, isn't it? We're about to have on this location the world's second largest retailer and the 14th largest corporation measured by total revenue. Most of all, to open up a wonderful shopping place. My